In yesterday's episode, I talked about how the pairing of Coby White and Josh Giddey has really become the engine of the team. I was asked a question on how far can a team built around a guard tandem like Coby and Giddey could really get. I want to talk a little bit about that. Plus, Billy Donovan is officially going into the Hall of Fame, and the Chicago Bulls have a game today against the Charlotte Hornets. We can get into all that, plus the mailbag, right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I'm the host, Derek Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Bulls Central Pod on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And I want to start off following up on kind of the main topic, overarching topic yesterday. I was asked a question in the comments where somebody asked, well, hey, Coby and Giddey have been great, right? And they've been really good together when they're both going. The team looks really good. But how far can a team really go built around two guards that are primarily creating off driving and kicking, and you don't have a dominant scorer yet, right? And that's a really good question. And I think that's why I've been very, at least feel like clear that this team is still far off from really being one of those teams that you look at as like going past the second round or anything like that. Like right now, we're showing a base of like, all right, we can be a competitive team with teams around our same area. We can beat, we can beat some teams above us from time to time, right? But they're going to have to come into next season being very consistent. But if you look at going into the future, right, I think that it's kind of hard to really state because A, you still need somebody to develop into number one, or you need to find that number one. Maybe that's going to be Matas Buzelis, a player like him, right? Maybe there's going to be somebody else that they draft, but this team is still missing some key components. We need better overall three-point shooting to help space the floor. I think a game like the OKC Thunder, in which a defense has the perimeter defenders that can basically force the Chicago Bulls to be outside shooters, right? And you limit Coby and Josh Giddey's ability to drive and kick, that really throws off the whole balance of the offense as it stands right now, right? So I'm not saying that the Bulls are like this, like some people, and I know it comes with optimism. Some people think like this team's going to, boom, add water. Now we're a 45, 50 win team next season because of how we finished over this year. I still look at the above 500 record. Like, it's better than some teams above us. It's a little shaky in some areas as well, too, right? But the Bulls still need some on-ball defense at times. We're going to need somebody who can bust up a zone defense, right? Those type of things. The Bulls still have some problems with hybrid zones. I still think you need a lob threat and a better rim protector consistent. Like, we have Matas, who is great as a rim protector. But if you can get a rim protecting center to add to Matas coming off the perimeter, what he does shot blocking wise, I think you're starting to really cook at that point in time, right? So, having two guards that can rebound well, that can both facilitate, where of course Josh Giddey is an amazing facilitator. Coby creating off drives is really good too. They both can create in the fast break, which is where the Bulls are trying to be as well. Like, it's showing some signs of hope. This team is still they still need to add components that make this team stronger, and you still need somebody to develop into that true day in and day out number one. Maybe that's on the team, maybe it's not, right? I'm not putting a cap on a guy. That's what I'm not necessarily saying somebody on this team can't turn into that. I'm just saying that they haven't done it yet, and we need to see that before we can really start saying what the ceiling of this team is. The way that I view it is this: the Bulls have raised their ceiling some. But the better thing about it is that they've raised their floor. And I think that is what the most realistic thing for this team is currently. They've raised their floor. Their ceiling is still up in question, if that makes sense, right? Like, we got to see how they're going to start off the season, how they adapt, coaching, things like that, who develops, right? So there's still some questions in regards to how high the ceiling is. And again, that's not me saying it's necessarily low. I'm just saying that we don't know quite yet, right? But the floor is definitely higher than at least initially expected coming into the season as well, right? Giddey's 22 years old. He's still going to be adding to his game. Coby White's still refining his game as well, becoming that more consistent player. We haven't had a player like Io, who I think could be really important for this Bulls team next season as well. And so you look at a full offseason of, keep in mind too, Kevin Huerter Zach Collins, like these guys are still basically going off. I mean, they have a better understanding of the playbook now, but like we didn't like create a lot of plays based off those guys because we didn't have a training camp with them, right? If we have a training camp with them, we can and possibly get even more out of it, right? So those are those type of things. But I think the Bulls are going to be one of those scrappy teams that you look at next season and you really start realizing, hey, like if they keep playing the way that they finished this season, they're going to win a lot more games, right? We're still a team that has a chance to win like 38, 39 games this season. And, if they do that, that'd be crazy, right? So we'll see what happens here. I'm not one to put a cap. I mean, on a team, I don't think per se that this is a team even next year you can say, oh, bet they can definitely avoid the play-in and they'll be a top 6 seed for the playoffs. I'm not saying that necessarily either. I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm just saying that I need to see the sample size of how they start off the season and then can they maintain that for a full season, right? Like they've maintained it for 25-ish games, if close to that. The level of play, even though they weren't winning initially and playing this level, but I just got to see that a little bit more. But great question. I can't remember the user that left the question. I apologize. I kind of threw it on my topic list when I saw it because I wanted to address it in a full episode. But overall, it just comes down like we'll see what happens with the Bulls. But for those that are still lottery and standings watch, the Bulls have moved up to the 9th seed with the Miami Heat losing last night. I think the Hawks lost last night as well. So that moved the Chicago Bulls up to the 9th seed. And there is a realistic opportunity that the Bulls can still move into the 8th seed, right? They're only one game back of the Atlanta Hawks. And the reason why I bring that up is that if they can move into the 8th seed, they only have to play one game. Like if they can win that 7-8 matchup, they only play one game and then they're into the playoffs, right? And if they do lose the first game, they get an additional game to try to then beat the winner of the 9-10 seed. So that's something to look out for over the latter half of the season. The last 5, we only got 5 games left, the final 5 games of the season to see, if the Bulls can move up in those standings. I mean, they've won 2 in a row. They're 7-3 in their last 10. Them and the Orlando Magic are both 7-10 in their last 7-3 in their last 10, I should say. So, we'll see what happens, man. Overall, put it all out there on the court like they have been and let the chips fall where they may. Now, tonight, the Bulls do take on the Charlotte Hornets. This is a team that's struggled all year long. I mean, they have 19 wins on the year. They're 27th in net rating, 29th in offensive rating, 24th in defensive rating, dead last in the NBA in true shooting percentage and effective field goal shooting percentage. This is just a team that has just not been good at all this season. Like, and they're one of the teams that absolutely, like, I thought if LaMelo could stay healthy, that this team could be, that they would be in the playoffs. They're not, and he wasn't. That as well, right? Like, this is a team that's struggling right now. They have so many injuries out that the Bulls should. I don't predict wins or losses because I know I've been around the NBA long enough that anything can happen on any given day, right? This team still has Miles Bridges. Mark Williams is day to day. We don't know what's happening with him, but overall, like you can't count out any team. But the Charlotte Hornets are about as close to being able to count out a team before it even starts as possible, right? I would love to see the Bulls come into this game, be able to sit the starters after about halfway through the third quarter, if not earlier, and let THT cook, let Dalen, Julian get some minutes, right? Maybe some of the G League guys. I would love for that to be the case today. Let's come in here. Let's take care of business. Let's move the hell on. And again, I don't want to overlook the Charlotte Hornets. How I do a daily Locked On NBA show with the host of Locked On Hornets, who's a really good guy, and I really want him to be able to have a winning team. But the season's not the Charlotte Hornets season. I don't even think they're trying anymore, so to say. LaMelo's been shut down for the year. Brandon Miller's out. So, you have all those things going on. And so, this is a team that you really can look at and say, all right, it's not happening for y'all this season, if it ever does happen for y'all. And I really hope that the Bulls come in here and just take care of the business that they need to take care of, man, and be able to sit your players, because that is a luxury. As you're getting closer and closer to the play-in, like if you have the luxury of being able to win games and sit your guys, those are things that matter for you, right? So let's see what happens with that, right? But like I said, with so many people being out for that team, Brandon Miller out for the season, LaMelo shut down for the season, you might as well go ahead and come in here and just knock them the fuck out and move the hell on. But with that said, man, last thing that I want to get into before the mailbag, the Bulls technically have a Hall of Fame coach coaching them. Billy Donovan is officially going to be going into the Hall of Fame mainly due to his college record, but let's not also overlook that he has had some success in the NBA as well. But that's why it's highlighted the fact that that the Hall of Fame is not the NBA Hall of Fame. It's the Basketball Hall of Fame, which means that everything you do in basketball. Billy Donovan was a player in the NBA. He was a coach at college. He was a solid NCAA player as well. And, he comes into it. He won 70% of his games in his college career between Marshall and Florida, right? He appeared in 14 NCAA tournaments. You cannot overlook the collegiate career that he's had, right? Over 2 decades in coaching. Billy Donovan has earned being a Hall of Famer. We wish he would have been able to do it in college, but, it is what it is. So it's him, Carmelo Anthony, another former Bull. No, not really. Dwight Howard, Sue Bird, Maya Moore, Sylvia Flowers, who definitely deserves it, Chicago legend there, Mickey Arison, and referee Danny Crawford as well. That's going into the Hall of Fame, the official class of 2025. So the Bulls have a Hall of Fame head coach. There you go. All right, with that said, let's go ahead and get into these voicemails. We got 5 of them to get into today. This first one, man, this one is from Danko.
Here, what's good, Hayes? It's your boy, 609 Super Duper Danko from the chat, any background noise you hear, I'm sorry, I got the deep fried gun, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, man, I just finished watching, you and Pat on Locked On Bulls. I know this Bulls century, but I just finished watching y'all, and it's like, honestly, I agree with Pat on a lot of shit he was saying, just because it's like, if we can get to the point where if this season can end in a dominant playoff series and a competitive play-in series and a dominant playoff series, okay, I'm willing to go into the next season feeling confident, feeling good, feeling optimistic, you know what I mean, about what we can build off that. But here's my thought, here's my question for you, right? What if Coby and Giddey's, what's the word I'm looking for here? Let's just call their ability to really build that camaraderie and play to a level of efficiency together where they play well off of each other as well as when they're not with each other. Honestly, bro, I feel like that is the most positive thing that can happen for Matas' career, because what that does is open up not one but 2 people who gonna make sure that when he's open, when he could get that shot off, when he can drive to the rim, whatever it's gonna be, it could happen. You know what I mean? You need 2 guys who can get their shot off as well as get it to the man. And if those 2 can build that chemistry together, that's the word I was looking for. If those 2 can really build that chemistry, I know for a fact we're gonna get the best out of Matas. And whoever we draft, they just lucky to be on board. You know what I mean? At this point, that's what I'm hoping for. Because the way this young team is building, a good draft piece to come and fit in, I'm hoping it's a big man. I'm team big man. Please, for the love of God, don't get another point guard. But neither here nor there. Whoever they is, they lucky to come and get on board if Giddey and Coby could really build something special together. But, hey, that's my time. You know what I mean? Hey, Hayes, appreciate what you're doing. Be great, King.
Coby and Josh Giddey's style of play opens the floor up for so many players, right? And I think that's the special part of it. All you got to do is move without the ball. People who cut like Matas Buzelis, and come off screens and things like that, they're going to really thrive. And that's why I say that the Bulls, I think they're going to add some more wrinkles into their style of play. They're going to keep the fast pace. They're going to keep that type of stuff. But I think they're going to create more off-ball actions for Matas, who's growing as a shooter. Kevin Huerter, who's a shooter. Io, who also can shoot the 3, especially when he's a starter. He's really good at the 3-point line. So, listen, their style, as long as they're creating like they are, getting to the free throw line, creating off drives, collapsing the defense, it adds so much for what a team can do. With their passing ability, especially with Josh Giddey's, and Matas Buzelis is the player that's slated to really benefit from that the most. He's still not creating his own shot yet. I do think that's going to come next year, but he brings all of that. So, the style of play that Coby and Giddey bring to this team is going to be hugely important. And then if you get a big that can roam, and that's why, I know I say this, and everybody's like, well, every big doesn't need to shoot. I don't need a big to shoot necessarily 3-pointers, but you want a big to be able to provide some spacing. The spacing that you can get even in having a big that can shoot 12 to 15 feet for guards that like to drive is really valuable as hell, right? So that's what Coby and Giddey bring to this team. And so Matas is going to be able to do that. I need Matas to shoot a little bit more in the mid-range next year. I think that's really going to help him. But as of right now, those 3 players, like I've said it before, Giddey, Coby, Matas. Those are the 3 players, at least right now, with what we know about the roster, that you're looking at coming in and being the engines like Coby and Giddey are, of course, the main ones, but Matas and his growth can be such a big part of the engine of the Bulls offense. And then you can fill it out with specialists, right? You can have a two-way player like Io out there with him, whether he's starting or coming off the bench, right? You can have a shooter like Kevin Huerter out there as well. You can have that bruising big or a lob threat. Hopefully we can find one as well. You can have these things. And so I really love what the Bulls have potentially here on paper. We just got to get it all together, and let's hope that we can. All right, let's get into the next one, man. This one's from Vikram.
Yo, what up, Hayes? It's Vikram. I've been thinking about this recently because I saw some Twitter post about it. Why did AK hold on to Lonzo Ball? Like I'm sitting here and like I'm just like in shock that like he had a first round pick from the Grizzlies in this year's draft. He said in his preseason press conference, "Oh, we need to prioritize keeping our top 10 pick this year." So clearly he values this draft. And he's sitting here like making stupid ass decisions like not trading Lonzo Ball for a pick that's going to be around 19 or 20. Who could we have drafted with that? A center, Danny Wolf. Someone like him. Maybe like if someone like, I don't know, like Asa Nua falls somehow to like 20, we would have gotten a premier player at pick 20. Like, I really don't understand how he could have missed that. And that like, I still am not convinced that he is putting this team in the right path when he makes decisions like that. He likes his players, yes, he likes his guys. Lonzo Ball is one of his guys. But you're building a team. Yes, there's culture that you need to build, chemistry. But again, you're not going to sacrifice your entire, like all your decisions because you want continuity. That shit is stupid to me. And, like, I don't know. Like, if we have, like, the 13th pick or something this draft, and we don't have that 20th pick, it looks a lot worse than say we did trade away Lonzo Ball, and now we have both, or like we have so much. I don't know what. Like I'm trying to say, like we would have so much more wiggle room, and because we didn't decide to trade Lonzo Ball away, I don't care about the Vooch thing. Like the Vooch thing, even if we don't get like the 2 second-round picks we were supposed to get, like whatever. But like the Lonzo Ball thing, it's just like it makes me think like, how do you keep missing on these opportunities to get like picks? Lonzo Ball, always injury prone. You started falling on the idea that, oh, he came back, he must be good. I don't know,
man. Yeah, listen, not taking the first round pick for Zoe, of course, looks like a bad deal, right? Like Zoe's hasn't been on the court. He's missed 17, 18 straight games, something in there. On top of missing the 14, I think he missed straight early in the year when he almost had a season-ending wrist injury as well. And yeah, that's one of those times, like stacking assets. I get it, wanting to take care of Lonzo. I get what Lonzo meant to this team, and I do truly think if AK knew how good Trey Jones was going to be on this Bulls team, that would have changed some things as well, right? But woulda, coulda, shoulda there. Like, yeah, when you're the type of team that the Bulls are, getting another pick where, like you said, Memphis's pick is slated to be around 19 or 20, getting a pick in that range, whether it's you draft a center with your first pick, that you have your own pick, or you do a different position there. Like, yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I'm not saying that you're wrong for it, man. And it is one of those things you're going to look back on and be like, is this really what was the right question, the right choice here? And unfortunately, the Bulls didn't take it, man. And again, no slight to Zoe at all. Like, when Zoe's on the court, we know what he brings defensively. He's a plus when he's on the court, whether his shot's falling or not, because he does that many things on the court for the Bulls. And if I had to think about it, I think the process of looking at that is, hey, we need defenders. Let's get one in Lonzo. Let's keep a guy like that in our building. But it's something that you look at now and it's like, that wasn't the right move. But yeah, you're gonna make all the right decisions there. But you still can't overlook the things that he is doing to build this team right? He's still making decisions on that. He's made some really good decisions as well. But that's why I say no GM bats 1,000. They just don't. All right, let's get into the next one, man. This one's from Shay.
What's up, hey? It's Shay. Look, we've been talking a lot about centers and all of that, but one center that I feel like nobody is really talking about is this guy named Johnny Broome. Now, look, I know he's 22 years old. He's on a little bit of the older side, but hey, I think he fits the timeline. And on top of that, I think he will adjust to the league a lot faster. Not to mention, Peter Pat, he has a little bit of a shot, and he does the things that we need him to do well, which is shot blocking and rebounding. Now, look, I know people are going to say, oh, he's older, this and that, but hey, maybe we might need a little bit of age to help us out because these raw prospects ain't gonna help. Hey, yo, man, check him out. Johnny Broome. I think he fits in with us really well, especially with us not being able to pick Derek Queen or Kavah Malowit. Johnny Broome, man. Auburn Center, Johnny Broome. Check him out. Anyway, tell me what you think. Peace.
Johnny Broome, listen, I know that Deanna brings him up a lot as well, and there's a reason why he's slated to go mid to late first round. Now, depending on where the Bulls pick at, he could be an option. He's been basically a walking 20 and 10 in college, but the problem with Broome is the fact that, he's not really fast. The Bulls are trying to play in an up-tempo style. Could he adjust? Maybe. He's not an explosive center at all, so he's not really going to be a lob threat, right? He likes to get the ball on the block outside of 17 feet and work. I don't think he's going to be able to do that as much at the NBA level. Right now, the dog mentality is there. The fact that he's a worker is there. He's a guy that's just going to go out there and work. He's not really a threat to stretch the floor yet, and I don't even mean to three like I talked about earlier in the episode. I mean even to 12 to 15 feet consistently, right? His free throw shooting also is really subpar, not great, right? And as a fifth-year college player, you kind of expect those things to kind of be more around as well, right? And there are definitely going to be people that knock him for his age in the draft. We'll see there, right? The thing is how is he going to be able to score against NBA defenses? Because it's not going to be the same as easy as it was for him in college. The way that he adapts is really going to be an important role in that. Now, he's a bucket, right? But how you score is as important as the numbers that you do put up. And when you look at the way that Johnny Broome scores, with the fact that he's not the strongest, the fact that he's not necessarily the quickest either, there's some questions about that, right? Now, a player like Zach Edey's been able to come into the NBA and been productive at the level that he was picked at. He was picked still in the lottery, right? So maybe that's some things as a sign for Broome overall as well. But there's just some big concerns there. And so, again, he's a solid center prospect, but he's probably not even in the top 5 center prospects in this draft, right? So it really depends on the draft position for the Chicago Bulls, where I think it comes down to a player like Johnny Broome. But, we'll see what ends up happening here. We'll see what ends up happening. You got to keep in mind, too, that he tested his NBA draft stock in 2024, and that was part of the reason he returned for the 5th year, because scouts kind of told him, it's not looking really good for you in this draft. And that was a weak draft, right? So you got to look at those things as well. But we'll see. We'll see. Like I said, there have been players with a lot of doubt around them before that went on to answer that doubt and to be pretty damn good. So let's see. Maybe that is going to be Johnny Broome. All right, let's get into the next one, man. This one's from Reggie.
Hey, this is Reginald calling in after the Bulls just getting the ass beat by the OKC. Once again, not surprised. That's the difference between a championship contender and, wherever the hell the Bulls are. And, that's probably one of the best ways to build a team is you build through the draft, you build through acquiring quality free agents. But most importantly, you have a serious direction for your team. They built themselves into a well-rounded two-way team. This isn't like Phoenix or Sacramento where they say, you know what, we're just going to blow our opponents out with a ridiculous amount of offense. Or maybe you say like the Spurs and Pistons of 20 years ago, where it's the defense that makes them so dangerous. The Thunder are a team that can do both. And even though the defense is better than their offense, that's not a bad thing for them, because as long as they have guys like Shea, they always stand a chance against anyone in the league right now. But this is the Bulls This is the Bulls podcast, so let's get back to the Bulls. I wasn't surprised that the coaching staff zeroed in on Coby and Giddey. Those two were the main guys, the engine of the team. So taking them out was easy. And I knew once they got taken out, the game was over. It was over almost when it was like 20-12. The thing I was disappointed about was that guys like Terry and Phillips, who rarely get a chance to get consistent minutes, failed to show up. It was their moment. And even though they're going to have more opportunities, it makes it harder and harder to, give them starter minutes. I still prefer either one of them over Patrick Williams because we know he's mentally checked out. But, this offseason is going to be a contract talk of whether or not to give them extension. And right now, offering any more than $5 to $6 million is pretty much it. And as for IO, I have no problem saying, hey, just give him 25 per. But do you think this is just a one-off for the Bulls? Thanks.
Listen, I know, yes, a lot of what happened against Thunder sucked, right? Just to be quite frank. But it's hard for a player like Dalen Terry and Julian Phillips, who are really limited in creating their own shot so far, for that to be their chance to really step up, right? Now, you talk a lot about, like, the contracts of Julian Phillips and Dalen, we don't have to worry about yet, right? And honestly, let's worry about that. Like, Julian still has 2 years left. Dalen, you don't have to worry about that at the end of next season. But as it stands right now, I don't see him having a lot of suitors. So you'll probably be able to keep him for wherever you want. Like, similar to, like, you're probably going to get him cheaper on extension than what you got IO. The hope is maybe he shows some flashes next year to where you feel more comfortable giving him that deal. But as it stands right now, I mean, again, not to shit on Dalen, I hope he shows differently. I wouldn't be surprised if they let Dalen walk. I just wouldn't be surprised if they let Dalen walk. I think that he's shown some flashes, and hopefully he can show that a little bit more consistently next year to where you feel safer about giving him that deal. But I would not be surprised if they let Dalen Terry walk next season. If what happens this season is, again, and I know people say, well, give him a chance. I always look at things as, have you earned the chance? What are you doing in practice to earn the opportunities? Hopefully he does that, and then we're not having this conversation and everybody's looking at Dalen as a player they want to keep around. I hope for that to happen because, again, I actually root for everybody on my team to be successful, and let's hope that that happens. All right, let's get into the last voicemail, man. This one's from Corn.
What it don't do, King Drip, it's your brother Corn, man. Let's get right into it, man. Shit, man. This team is, I ain't gonna lie, man. It's really coming together. I'm not gonna say it turned the corner. I'm not going to say anything outlandish like that, but it's starting to pivot, Let me say, I really hope we make the playoffs because I really want the experience for these young guys. Yeah, man, I really just want the experience for the young guys, man. What happened to Trey was awful. I hated that. Happy about what's going on with Lonzo. It's just I want to see us come out of the play-in. That's my main focus. Because we locked in. Question now, since we're locked in the play-in, regardless, would you sit out Coby and Giddey until that time? Or even Matas, would you sit them out? Maybe the last 2 games, or maybe the last game to get them fresh and ready for the play-in. And one more thing, I ain't forget. I gotta look into it. Zach Giddey ain't just to get the Rookie of the Year. So soon as the season over, I gotta go back to that episode and remember. I know I gotta wear a t-shirt to say Hayes is right and all that shit. I had a terrible year of predictions. I ain't even gonna hold you shit. I had a terrible year of fucking predictions. Like, yeah, it's been bad. It's been bad. But Zach Giddey, I don't believe is a terrible prediction of just being what he's going to be. He is going to make it in this NBA. I'm proud of him. I'm happy for them. They losing bad right now. I know they're not doing good. I know they lost like 8 of their last 7 or something like that in Memphis, but he's the enforcer. He's the enforcer. I'm so happy about that. I knew he always had that dog in him, you know, since Purdue. But yeah, man, I'm gonna see where he lands, but it look like he ain't just to get it. And I got you on the shirt, you know, saying hey, he's right and all that other shit, man. I'm a man of my word, King. I'm gonna be a man of my word, man. All right now, brother, man. Love you, man. Always appreciate you, what you do, King. Blessings. See Red.
Sitting Josh Giddey and Coby leading into the plan. I don't think that's going to happen, mainly because the Bulls have an opportunity to move up to 8th. And as long as that's still an option there for the Bulls, and we know that this team is all about winning and putting it all out on the table, I don't think they're going to sit them. I think because of how tight the plan is, and you have an opportunity to get yourself an extra game and maybe even a home court game in the play-in, I think that that's going to be something that the Bulls look at and that they keep fighting. I don't think Josh Giddey and Coby are going to sit here on the back half of the season. I could be wrong, right? But I don't think you're going to see any guys sit. I think more so in opportunities like tonight when you face off against the Charlotte Hornets, you're hoping that you're able to sit those guys in the fourth quarter and not play them then. I think that may be what you're looking for. But as far as just sitting them until the play-in, I don't see that happening. I don't think the NBA will really look positively upon that. As far as our Zach Edey bet, yeah, you're right. You lost that bet, so get that shirt ready. But I will also say Zach Edey has been better than I was expecting. I still think that in the playoffs, he's going to be unplayable in fourth quarters against a lot of teams, and maybe even in the second halves against some teams, just because of the way and style of play. But they knew that when they drafted Zach Edey, right? Like that was the thing that you knew. You had to commit to a certain style of play. If you weren't able to play that style because of matchups, it means that Zach Edey was probably going to have to sit. So, like I said, but I can also admit he's been a lot better than I was expecting in this league as well. So, we'll see what the future holds for Zach Edey. But thank you guys for leaving those voicemails. Make sure you guys are following us at Bull Central Pod. You send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullcentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related, but that's thanks to you lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up. I love you guys. Go Bulls. See red if you can, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.